When 8-year-old Michael suddenly began screaming during Elvis's Vegas performance, the entire crowd assumed security would escort the family out. But instead, Elvis did something nobody expected. He stopped the concert, walked into the audience, and sat beside the autistic boy. What he whispered in Michael's ear silenced the child instantly for the first time in hours. That moment would not only move thousands, but would also change the future of autism research forever. And yes, it was all captured on tape. It was November 22nd, 1975, at the International Hotel in Las Vegas. Elvis was performing his second show of the night, before a sold-out audience of 12,000 fans. The atmosphere was electric. People from all over the world had gathered to see the king. But among all those voices, one sound would soon rise above the rest, though not in the way anyone imagined. In the third row sat the Patterson family from Phoenix, Arizona. Robert and Linda Patterson had saved for 2 years to afford this trip. For them, it wasn't just a vacation, it was a last hope to give their 8-year-old son Michael a rare moment of joy. Michael had been diagnosed with autism in 1973, when little was understood about the condition. Doctors told his parents he might never speak properly, never build relationships, and would likely need lifelong care. But Linda had noticed something extraordinary. Music transformed him, especially Elvis's songs. He couldn't form sentences, yet he could hum Love Me Tender and Can't Help Falling in Love with flawless pitch. Linda believed that if Michael could see Elvis in person, something inside him might awaken. That maybe he'd realize the voice he adored came from a real person. Robert worried. Taking Michael anywhere was difficult. Crowds, noise, bright lights could trigger overwhelming meltdowns. But Linda insisted music is the only thing that reaches him. We have to try. At first, the risk seemed worth it. For the first hour, Michael sat mesmerized, rocking gently in his seat, his version of showing contentment. Elvis had electrified the crowd with That's All Right, Hound Dog, and Burning Love. Everything was going perfectly, until disaster struck. As Elvis launched into Don't Be Cruel, a technical glitch caused the sound system to spike to painfully high levels. The audience winced, but for Michael, with his extreme sensitivity, it was unbearable. He erupted in a piercing scream, loud, high-pitched, and relentless. Covering his ears, rocking violently, completely lost in sensory overload. Linda tried to soothe him, but nothing worked. People began turning around, some sympathetic, others annoyed. Robert whispered, "We should leave." Linda begged for patience, just give him a moment. But Michael only screamed louder. Security began moving toward them. In 1975, autism was barely recognized. And to most people, Michael just looked like a misbehaving child. A guard leaned down. "Ma'am, you need to take your boy outside. He's disturbing the show." Linda pleaded, "Please, he's not being bad. He's autistic. He just needs time." But the guard shook his head. Other people paid to be here. And then everything stopped. Elvis, mid-song, put down the microphone. The band grew quiet. The arena of 12,000 fell into stunned silence. Elvis stepped to the edge of the stage. "Folks, I need everyone to be real quiet for just a moment." He looked directly at the Pattersons. "Is that your boy?" Robert, frozen, nodded. "What's his name?" Linda called out. "Michael." Elvis repeated it softly. "Michael." But Michael kept screaming, so Elvis did the unthinkable. He handed his mic to his guitarist, Charlie Hodge, climbed off the stage and walked straight into the crowd. Every eye followed as the king of rock and roll made his way to the third row. Reaching Michael, Elvis didn't speak loudly. He knelt on the floor beside him, eye level, and said gently, "Michael, I know it feels too loud right now. You know what I do when it's too loud? I sing something soft." Then he began humming, barely audible, "Love Me Tender." Miraculously, Michael's screams faded, then stopped. For the first time in nearly half an hour, the boy was quiet. Slowly, he turned and looked directly at Elvis, something he almost never did with anyone, and began to hum along. His mother wept. His father sat in disbelief. The entire arena, dead silent, watched a miracle. Elvis smiled. "That's beautiful, Michael. You've got perfect pitch." Michael didn't speak, but smiled back, the first genuine smile his parents had seen in months. Elvis then asked, "Would you like to come on stage with me?" And to everyone's shock, Michael nodded. Elvis took his hand and led him gently through the silent crowd to the stage. The audience began to clap, but Elvis raised his hand. "Shh, let's keep it quiet for Michael. Loud sounds are hard for him." The applause ceased instantly. At the piano, Elvis seated Michael beside him. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is my friend Michael. He has something called autism, which makes his brain work a little differently. But different isn't wrong, it's special, and Michael has a very special gift." Elvis played Love Me Tender. Michael hummed the melody. Their voices blended in harmony so moving that people openly cried. For the first time, thousands witnessed autism not as a disability, but as a unique way of experiencing the world. When the song ended, Elvis draped one of his scarves, the one he had worn that night, around Michael's neck. "This is yours. Every time you hear music, remember you belong here just as much as anyone else." The Patterson family later learned that among the audience that night was Dr. Sarah Chen, a young UCLA researcher. Witnessing Michael's response to Elvis inspired her to study autism and music. Her later discoveries on savant syndrome transformed autism research and led to therapy still used today. Decades later, in 2003, Michael, now 36 and a skilled musician, returned to the same Las Vegas stage. Sitting at the piano, he performed Love Me Tender, singing the words for the very first time. When he finished, the audience gave him a 10-minute standing ovation. He stood and said, "Elvis taught me that being different isn't wrong. Music taught me that everyone has a voice, even if it doesn't sound like everyone else's." That night in 1975 remains one of the most powerful examples of compassion in entertainment history. Elvis could have ignored the disruption or allowed security to remove the family. Instead, he chose kindness, and in doing so, helped reshape the world's understanding of autism.